welcome to the Grandland video blog for August 13th, 2008. We talk about 5 books this week. It's going to be a lot less a case of the giggles than last week, I hope. First up, Atomic Robo and the Dogs of War, number 1. My friend Brad turned me on to this book, the first miniseries, Atomic Robo and the Fighting Scientist of Tesladyne. And the goodness continues, kind of akin to a Wolverine flashback. Here we have the Atomic Robo fighting in World War II. Very interesting story, good build-up. The trick about reading Atomic Robo is that there's not a lot of dialogue in the book. It's an interesting book. You really have to follow it visually, which is not a style that I'm used to when it comes to reading comic books. It's good for kids. Kids really love it because you can really, if you're paying attention panel by panel, you can see a lot of action going on. It's a very interesting read. If you're not paying attention, if you're doing it well, looking somewhere else or being distracted, you're going to miss a lot of things. You're just going to end up turning pages fast. So take your time with this book. It's brilliant. Support it. It's definitely a well-done book. First mini-series is collected in trade paperback. That's how I checked it out and how I recommend that you check it out and get in on the ground floor of this mini-series. Definitely good stuff. Next up, Freedom Formula number 1. As you know, we've kind of been tooting the horn of Radical Comics in general. It's kind of an indie edition, I guess. We go from Red 5 to Radical. Radical has the good seller Caliber, the first canon of Justice, an Old West retelling of what if Excalibur was a gun in the Old West. Very interesting book, and they also do Hercules, which sells pretty well, but not as well as Caliber does. Here we have their third book, the first one that is launching without $1 for the first issue, and that might hurt it. It's called Freedom Formula. It's a very interesting cyberpunk post-apocalyptic future. In a city, they have a bunch of racers. There's underground illegal street racing basically with giant mechs, which is, it's beautifully put together. The story is intriguing. We get some very interesting characters going on in this first issue. It's only a 5-issue miniseries, as most of their products are. I believe all of them so far have been. I don't know. I don't think that anybody's really going to grab onto this for $2.99, unfortunately, because it is a good book and it shows some promise. This company in general seems to show a lot of promise. They have a lot of no-name writers and artists, but their product delivers at the end of the day. Looks well, comes out on time, looks like good stuff. Definitely something to check out if you enjoy this kind of like Logan's Run, sci-fi. I don't know, it's kind of reads a little bit like Fast and Furious a little bit. Kind of interesting stuff. Plus it's got that sci-fi element to it. Check it out. Next up, Amazing Spider-Man. Giving this one a break. I haven't talked about it in a while for that good reason, because I could talk about it 3 times a month and it'll be good. I really just want to touch on this one real quick because this current arc that just wrapped up Kraven's First Hunt, very well done. I really liked it. It's a very interesting dynamic. Without spoiling too much, Spider-Man and not Daredevil are fighting Kraven, and that's really all I can tell. Kraven's daughter, actually. It's very well done. Vermin comes back, which is a nice reference back to Kraven's last hunt. There's a lot of that Kraven honor New York subway system motif that went into some of the best Kraven stories. You could tell that Dan Slott, when structuring this story arc, really delved into that, did his research properly. Again, it's a really well done. It's the last 3 issues that have come out, this one and the 2 before it. We're leading up into New Ways to Die. I'm sure I'll be talking about that because John Romita Jr. is going to be back on the title, and he's bringing Venom, Thunderbolts, Green Goblin, and Anti-Venom. John Romita Jr., I'm a big fan. Venom, I'm a big fan. It's going to be some good times in the Spider-Man universe. But before we get into all that, before we jump on that train, definitely get this one. If you haven't read any of the other Brand New Days, this is classic core Spider-Man. Just 70s, 80s style Spider-Man right here. Well worth the money. Over to Big Summer Crossover time. Secret Invasion number 5. I was a little disappointed with number 4, if you remember. It seemed like there was a lot of spinning of wheels. This one, a little more plot development than number 4, but not as whiz-bang as the first 2 or 3, really. You can kind of feel like Bendis slowed down really a lot in number 4. He's kind of gearing back up in 5. It's definitely getting back to the top speed. There's some interesting developments. This doesn't feel like a total throwaway issue, which is really nice compared to number 4. I was starting to have my doubts. Unlike Final Crisis, where I'm completely lost, this I'm still following. It's still interesting, even though it's sluggish. It's good stuff, and the last 3 issues are going to pay off really, really well, I think. Lastly this week, Astonishing X-Men 26. This is a misleading cover by Simone Bianchi. As beautiful as it is, it's a little misleading. I didn't see the Beast anywhere in this book. But if you read Astonishing X-Men 25, also by Warren Ellis, it was a very good story. It was very interesting. It's the first non-Joss Whedon Astonishing X-Men comic, which is welcome. Granted, I do like Joss Whedon. I like this run on the Runaways. I mean, I don't like a lot of his stuff, but I'm not Buffy crazy. I liked his run on the Runaways. I hated his run on Astonishing because I could write fanfic that would have, you know, Shadowcat banging Colossus. That's nothing new. That's not innovative writing. That's not how you write an X-Men book. How you write an X-Men book is like Warren Ellis has done. And now I'm not flying the Warren Ellis flag all that high either, really. But to be honest, once I read 25, I was really excited. 26 keeps it going. Armor, or whatever she's going to call herself now. Really interesting scene with her in here. A lot of characterization between Cyclops and Storm and Wolverine. Really well done. That's the core of the X-Men right there. You know, if you had Avengers and you have Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, you talk Storm, Cyclops, and Wolverine, that's the 3 X-Men. Warren Ellis recognizes that and really makes this book shine around them in this issue. The only unfortunate thing is I've heard that this whole Ghost Box's story arc is going to wrap up in a special, which I think is kind of crappy, but I think it has to do with Bianchi's art and probably the inability to hit a monthly schedule with such beautiful art. Even though the colors are a bit muted, sometimes you have to look at the panel twice to figure out what's going on. Other than that, this is a really exciting book. I'm going to start buying it personally because it's that interesting. It's been a while since I've read an interesting X-Men book, and this is it right here. So check it out. That's it from Grandland for this week. We'll see you in 7 days, hopefully less.